I invite you to join me in mind, heart, and in spirit. Today's reading comes from Joyous Living by Petra Wells and Christian Sorensen. People are often led to search for the kingdom of God because of some human challenge. The physical healing is good, but what is even greater value is when it moves you to seek to know more about God. When the desire awakens to know spirit beyond healing, the transformation in your life really takes off. In your search to know God comes the realization that you cannot influence the infinite, but you become more available to be influenced. In this revelation, you'll understand that all you seek has already been given. All your needs have already been met, and nothing has been withheld because it is ever available. You become a conduit for the richness of this kingdom to be expressed. This is when your words and actions become healing expressions in the world. Take these words with me into a quiet place. And I am so grateful for this day and for this service. I know that there is a perfection and a divine right order in everything that occurs in this service and everything that occurs this day. I know that we are all touched by the infinite spirit of who we are, that this place, this moment, this instant in this time here is a time of blessing, healing, love, and inspiration. I know that our children are so divinely blessed and uplifted and supported as they participate in all the fun activities that they are doing right here, right now in the back. And I'm knowing that this ministry, this music ministry, is such a blessed experience. I give thanks. I give thanks for every song, every note, every voice and every instrument. And I know that it is divinely orchestrated and divinely put together. And I give thanks, and I know that Reverend Cece is inspired. That the wisdom, that the love, that the spirit, that the infinite power of God moves in and through and as her, and she speaks the words of love, of healing, of knowledge, of wisdom, of inspiration. I give thanks for the perfection of it all. So be it, and so it is.
So you probably found sparkles on your seat this morning. We had a big party here Friday night, and there was a lot of sparkly stuff around, so we'll get it vacuumed up sometime. I'm working on this retreat in November, and I came across a quote by Beatrice Brutto, who's a theological writer, and she said that we're all mystics, basically. We are all seeking to actually reach out and touch that greater intelligence of the universe, and so our task from this point forward, she said, is to raise that up so that it's in front of us all the time, which is kind of what today's reading is about in a little bit of an offhanded way. Yesterday, I was also reading about why people don't get involved in a church or spiritual community. There's a group called the Barna Research Group who they do their work at the intersection of church and culture, whatever that means. And they said, well, it's because most people focus on their secular lives. They organize their personal lives around secular things rather than around their religion anymore. And it is true that we're very, very involved in the outer world in our society. But I don't believe it's that people are no longer seeking. I think they're seeking in a different way. I think they're seeking a direct experience of spirit, and they're a little bit disenchanted with church as usual. I think maybe people want to experience that larger something in every part of their lives, which is what we've been teaching here for 100 years now, which is that there isn't any part of your life that you can say this is spiritual and this isn't, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, so it's all part of our spiritual lives. But even here, it looks like we're seeking sometimes. It feels like we're seeking and not finding. I think that humanity is on the edge of this, excuse me, this jumping off place. We want to take it deeper and wider. We really want to let our inner lives become our outward lives. Through everything we do, and we have this urge to become completely integrated so that we don't feel so compartmentalized and so cut off in one area of our life from the depth of the rest of our lives. And that requires a fair amount of dedication, doesn't it? Probably more than we bargained for in the beginning. But still, here we all are. Here we all are showing up, trying to become more congruent, trying to walk the spiritual path, trying to make the world a better place, trying to find whatever it was we were looking for when we were seeking. I don't know about you, but I remember stepping onto, or close to, I won't say onto, close to the spiritual path. I wasn't thinking about trying to live a different life. I just wanted the pain to stop. Just wanted to feel better, And what I found was, in the words of I'm not sure who, somebody said he felt hints from something beyond, something powerful and vast that he could kind of glimpse out of the corner of his eye every once in a while. That's what happened once he got to the spiritual path. Is he started to catch the notion, the feeling that there was something bigger, and there's something in us that responds to that and says, I want that. The part of us that wants to see how things are, not how they appear to be. The part of us that wants to live always from that depth of self, that I call consciousness, as opposed to the mind of the brain or the functions of the brain, which is, that constant nattering, think. There's a part of us that wants to swing out into that field of infinite possibility rather than just be trapped in here with the insane roommate, as the untethered soul calls it. The insane roommate in our heads. Carl Jung said that there's something in us that sees around corners in front of us and knows beyond time and space. I love that. And I think that's what gets us started. There's that feeling of something that sees around the corners of our lives, and that's our real nature. That's our spiritual nature. That's the life of our life, if you will. And there's part of us that knows that senses it, and that follows it. And so we start to skip along the spiritual path, and it's still more than we bargained for. It's still more than we expected when we started out, because we just keep finding more and more and more. We wind up in a spiritual center or a church because our outer lives are a mess, maybe, and we might have depression or marital or family problems or illness or financial issues or loneliness or why am I here? What is life all about? There are lots and lots of reasons. And I think our reading refers to that when it says people are often led to seek the kingdom of God because of some human challenge. The physical healing, the healing of the stuff is really good, but what's even greater value is when we seek to know more about what this intelligence is, whatever you want to call it. When that desire to know spirit, to know that infinite field of possibility, that's when we start to become transformed. We start to become transformed. The way I put it is we fall in love with consciousness. We fall in love with finding out more about what's within us, the whole universe that is within us. And that's certainly what happened with me. I wanted the pain to stop. And what I found was a technicolor universe, that, you'd sort of never get bored with exploring your true self because it is part of the infinite. And there's something new around every corner. There's a new vista, a new way of looking at things, whatever it is. And I always want to know more about that universe. And somewhere in there, I ran into this power and presence and peace and bliss and happiness and joy and wanted to know more about that. And I know that's happening to you too, because I can see it. I can see what happens when you have a brush with that power that's looking around the corners of your lives and you go, whoa, I want more. I want to know more about that life force that is me. And what we discover as we walk together is that in order to go further down this path, we have to reach inward. We have to reach toward that life force with a different set of mental muscles than we use to deal with the facts and circumstances outside of ourselves. We have to use a different way of approaching. We can't think this thing into submission. We can't plan our way to an experience of the divine. All we can do is make ourselves available to it. And one of the first things we have to do to move into the field of God, the field of spirit, is to sort of let go with our preoccupation with our story. It's pretty narcissistic, at least it is. At least when I catch myself, when I can witness myself doing it, I think, wow, look at my story, isn't it awful? Don't you like it? We're always carrying it around and showing it to other people and asking them to, commiserate with us over the ugliness of our story. We just carry it around and yeah, we all have trials, but when they become our story and we don't let go of it, we become like, Narcissus is a wonderful myth. He's so beautiful and he sees himself in this reflecting pool and he's so beautiful he can't stop looking at himself and eventually starves to death because he won't get up and get something to eat because he's stuck here looking at himself in this reflection. That's where the word narcissism comes from. It's kind of weird, isn't it? But we become entranced by the ugliness of our story and we just can't stop looking at it. And we tell it anybody who'll sit and listen to it. And we have to get radical about it and let go of the story. In order to become integrated, we have to just stop carrying our troubles around first. Will they still be with us? They will, but if we quit, we're picking them up and asking other people to tell us how awful they are, then we can put them down and walk away from them. We may go back and look, and we may go back and pet, and we may even pick it up again and carry it for a while, but eventually we let it go. And then we can move further into this inner universe and start doing more and more and more exploration, because it's that unwillingness to let go of our story that keeps us locked in the outer aspect of life, away from the creativity that lives within us. We all have a story. We all do. But if we can't put them down, we don't have them, they have us. And they own us, and they are what we are. And so here at Center for Spiritual Living, we put a very strong emphasis on spiritual practice, because that's how we begin to put our story down and leave it there and walk away from it. Even every one of our spiritual practices is about moving away from the conditions into that inner universe of consciousness, and they're about bringing it outward and living from it so that it shows up in the world. They're all designed to move us from the control of what I call the mind of the brain, that thought generation, planning, conniving, plotting, numbers, words, all that stuff, into that vastness of consciousness. For example, affirmative prayer, the way that we pray here, it's called a spiritual mind treatment because it moves the mind to a different place. It's a treatment for the mind. It's a repeatable series of steps that moves our consciousness from the awareness of the problem to the awareness of the vastness of consciousness, the sea of infinite possibility. First we just remember what it is that we catch a glimpse of out of the corner of our eye. What is that? It's the power behind the universe. It's God. It's infinite. It's everywhere present. It's eternal. And then we move toward awareness that we're one with it, because it created us. It created everything. So we couldn't be anything but one with it. And then we talk about what it is that we want to see in our lives from the viewpoint of the reading. Everything has already been given. Nothing has been held back. It's all ever available, and we are the conduit for that, which moves us into gratitude, and then we just step aside and allow it to express itself through us. That's the way that we do spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer around here, because it moves our consciousness from out here to out there, or in there, I guess. And we use little shorthand messages called affirmations to remind us where to put our mental focus. Not on the conditions, but on the cause behind them. God, Spirit, that life that flows through us all the time. And meditation, or sometimes called contemplation, is where we get to see rather than act from. The mind of the brain in action. We just get to sit there and go, wow, that's weird. When we start to see the thoughts that string themselves together automatically, then we develop enough distance so we don't have to follow them. We can just sit there and watch them. And then we're sitting in the seat of consciousness rather than thinking. We're sitting in the seat of consciousness and watching the associations, the constant activity of the brain, all of those things that we used to run away with and follow and get all tied up in knots about. Instead, we just get to sit there and watch them and say, interesting. Now, what is it that I, from the seat of consciousness, want to do? Because beyond the constant field of ideas is the infinite field of possibility from which we can actually make a choice. And our spiritual practice of service, once again, moves us into an awareness that we're all one. Because when we serve another, or another serves us, or we serve our community and those people around us, and we are served by them, we start to see how we are part of each other. We're all connected. We don't have the boundaries that we set up between each other sort of dissolve away. We start to see that we're all one, and that when we serve another, we serve all. When we serve our community, we are in turn served by by that. In the spiritual practice of giving, or as I like to call it, giving and receiving, asking and forgiving, it all goes together. We're going to talk about that in the final 5 pillars class this afternoon. If any of you want to hang out, it's at 1 o'clock. Those 4 things all go together. Giving is what primes the pump. Receiving is what completes the flow of life. Asking is how we arrive at what we want, right? And also how we realize once again how interconnected we are. We have to ask another to help us because we are not able to do what it is that needs to be done all by ourselves. We may try, we may die trying. How much simpler it is to say, could you help me do X? Wow, what a concept. And forgiving keeps the flow moving through us, because every time we have a place of unforgiveness, we are stuck. We are stuck. We have built a dam in ourselves through which no love can pass, through which no abundance can pass, through which life cannot pass. And so that whole practice is a way of letting go of what I think is the root cause of the things that get us here in the first place. Depression, malaise, ill health, relationship problems, fear. Fear. Giving is the way of letting go of fear, because what we do is usually we get stuff, we get money, we get this medium of energy exchange, and we hold on to it. We say, I can't give any of this away because then I won't have it, which strengthens the fear. Once Paul wrote to Timothy, the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not the money, it's the love of money. Because if you have it and you can't give it away, it has you. You don't have it. It's it's not, and love is not the right word for it either. That was probably a poor translation. What he meant was the compulsion for money is the root of all evil. It makes us afraid. It makes us afraid that, well, what happens when this is gone? What am I going to do, starve? Am I not going to be able to do what I want to do? If instead we start to act like maybe we're plugged into something bigger, Maybe we're sourced in something infinite here like we say we are. Maybe we really are part of the infinite life of God. That's flow. It comes in, we use it, it goes out and flows through somebody else's life. It comes in, we use it, it goes out and flows through somebody else's life. When we realize that we can give from what we receive, 2 words together, give and receive, we have to do both. When we can give from what we receive, we actually experience more, not less. And I think, Jesus was talking about that very thing when he gave the story about the lilies of the field. He said, stop worrying about what you're going to wear tomorrow, because you are sourced in the infinite. There's nothing that's held back from you. And you can see that all these spiritual practices flow together, because the lack of fear allows everything else to sort of start moving, and meditation lets us witness the ego mind yelling at us when we give, saying, you can't let go of that, you won't have it. Or judging when we're serving another, and saying, and, we get to witness all of that and say, wait a minute, I think I'll step back into consciousness, away from the mind of the brain, and allow myself to be the conduit for the very life of the universe. So they all merge together and strengthen one another, because we're here to experience that flow of life. We're not here to experience the conditions and the total ups and downs of, and yes, we experience them because we're human, but that's not what our experience is to be limited to, the ups and downs of circumstances. Somebody said, I've been broke. I've been broke often, but I've never been poor. We experience being broke, we experience being flush, we experience having a cold, we experience being well, we experience being filled with joy, we experience being down. But underneath all of that is the real experience. And that experience is that each one of us is the place life flows, the place spirit shows up, the place that... There was a former diplomat named James George, and he wrote, the purpose of a human being is to serve as an intermediary so that this one mind, the universal intelligence, can reach the low level of this planet, which desperately needs that infusion of life. And when he says the low level of the planet, I think what he means is that so many of us are not aware that that's what lives within us. We're stuck in circumstance. Look around, you see it all the time. We're not tuned in to the purpose of our intermediary nature to be the place that high vibration of God shows up. So our job is to be the place that the intelligence of spirit makes itself manifest on earth. Which is certainly more than we were looking for in the beginning, isn't it? Come on, I just want the pain to stop. And then all of a sudden we are realizing the kingdom of heaven on earth. Simply because we shift our view from outer to inner, from down there to up here, from joyless to happy, from dysfunctional to contented. It's that shift in focus that comes from agreeing to be the bridge between not dysfunctionality and unhappiness, but the bridge between the Christ consciousness and the world. It's not what I was looking for, it's not what I bargained for, but once I had a taste of it, wow, I want to be that more and more and more. I want to experience spirit. I want to explore that experience. I want to know more of God. And we take one step in that direction, and instantly we become bringers of joy. We become healing presences. We become creators and comforters. We become citizens of heaven on earth. And we get that technicolor life, with wonder and joy and music and all those things that we never thought possible. More than we were looking for, but I wouldn't change a thing. And I hope you feel the same way. So right now, let's join together in allowing our awareness to fall inward into that deep, deep place of peace and joy and love and abundance and perfection that exists at the center of our being. That seed of divinity that we live from. That impulse to know God that exists at the core of ourselves. In that place, I know that there is only one. That there's nothing outside of spirit, that it fills every corner of the universe and every moment of time, expressing itself through all creation. So that truly, truly, everywhere we look, we see the face of God. I know that power and that presence lives in me and as me and through me, and that is true of every single one of us. So that we come here to see spirit reflected back to us in each face. Human, canine, whatever kind of face it is, God is there. God is present. And as I know this is the truth of our being. I know that each one of us simply turns toward that power and presence, says yes to it, and that power and presence then comes bounding toward us, always willing to inhabit, to fulfill, to expand and grow, to raise the vibration of our experience to one of joy and peace and love and hopefulness and faith and co-creation and creativity and abundance. Because I know this is the truth about our community and about each one of us here, I give thanks. I give thanks for this time of celebration, this time of coming together to support one another in that walk on the spiritual path, this time of glorification of that reflection we see in each face. From this place of deep gratitude, I simply let go, trusting and knowing that in the mind of God it is already so, and it is already making itself known in form right now. Thank you, God. And we say together, and so it is.
Here we go. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am.
Amen. We now have an opportunity to give, to contribute to the support of our community. So let's just take a moment and prepare ourselves to do that by thinking about all our blessings, by thinking about those we love, those who we support and who support us, all those who make it possible for us to walk to the refrigerator in the morning and pull out food. Someone grew it, someone planted it, someone tended it, someone harvested it, someone brought it to the grocery store where we could pick it up. All of those people who are part of our network of life, all that we are blessed with, and all that we are blessing the world with, all of our gifts. And just feel the gratitude that wells up in you when you think about all of that, because gratitude is the attitude that makes welcome the good of life. And as the offering basket passes through your hands, please bless the abundance of this whole community as well as yourself, because together we thrive. And let's affirm, gratefully I give with an attitude of abundance. I know that as I give, so do I receive. And so it is. Talented bunch, isn't it? Woohoo! Love this band. Yay! I have, let's see, where am I? A bunch of announcements to tell you about. First of all, if you missed the party Friday, I'm sorry. It was a lot of fun. We had great costumes, great fun, great food. And I just want to say an extra special thanks to the horde of people who put it up, who set it up, who put it together, who cleaned it up, who made it happen. And there are too many to thank, but there's, you know who you are. Thank you, thank you. It was fabulous. It was a great party. Really, really good. Really good. There is a social committee meeting right after the service at 12:15 at Hothead Burrito just down the street. So if you want to be involved in planning fun social events, join them. Ah, kids.
Come on, you guys.
We do.
Shout. A 1, 2, 3.
You are beautiful, courageous, and wise beyond your ages. This I know for you, as I know myself. You are special, you're unique, with the whole world at your feet. This I know for you, as I know myself. You are brother to the flowers, and sister to the trees. This I know for you, as I know myself. As all life lives within you, you are one with God, it's true. This I know for you, as I know myself. This I know for you, as I know myself. This I know for you, as I know myself.
Well, today we played bingo. And Laura won. Oh my
You get to play games with my friend Ann, huh?
Mom?
She's pretty goofy, isn't she?
Oh, you guys know.
There she is. I see her.
Do you know what?
This little tiny one can't find his mom because he can't see over the chairs. Oh, we have a little coat too, some that belongs to one of our kids, maybe. Okay, good. We found the owner. That's a good idea. Let's end with that. Let's end with happy again. About this Consciousness Cafe.
Well, that and another thing.
Happy.
I can't read my own writing. Okay, first of all, there's a social committee meeting, 12:15 Hidehead Burrito. And don't forget, next Saturday night, to turn your clock back an hour. Fall back. We get to sleep an extra hour. I could have used it last night, but it's next weekend, okay? It's next weekend. Right after service next Sunday in the library, the community service team is going to meet, so please join them if you want to talk about how to put wheels under their vision of reaching the youth in the community at large. And Teresa's waving a pledge card at me, so that means that, don't forget, yes, this is our commitment month is when we decide how we're going to support our community next year, and you write it down on that commitment card so that we can put a budget together. Now, be clear, it is not like written in blood. If something happens in your life and you need to change it, all you have to do is call. My prayer is that you're going to call us and say, increase my pledge, my life is going so fabulously. That's going to be my prayer for you, but sometimes stuff happens. So if you will just let us know in advance, then we can do our planning for next year. Pledge cards are back on the table if you don't already have one. If you need one, please pick one up there. There's an envelope there for it, and you can just turn it, you can just put it in the basket with your program, recycling, or take it into the office. Let's see, next Sunday there is also a green team meeting having to do with, I don't know, aliens and people from Mars and stuff. You'll have to talk to Gary Victor if you want to know more about that. But the green team is the environmental focus of our center. So if that interests you, please plan on attending this short meeting. It'll be after the service in the room all the way down the hall. Today is birthday Sunday, so we missed it last year, so there are 2 months worth of birthdays on the back of your program. If you see any of these people, say hello to them and happy birthday. There's cake and all sorts of other food in the social hall, so you can stay and have lunch. There's probably leftovers from Friday. So happy birthday to our September and October babies. On the other side of that list of birthdays, you will find, yep, I know it. He and I are October babies. Is it his birthday today?
16th.
Oh, we missed it. Well, happy birthday, Robert. On the other side of that is an upcoming event. It's our teddy bear ministry time again. So the idea is that you bring in new or gently used teddy bears, and then we all love them up during the service. And when they're really packed full of love, we're going to take them to a nursing home and give them to the residents. We did this one year, and I have to tell you that the residents were in tears that someone would bring them something to love, and so full of love. So let's ramp up the teddy bear ministry, and pretty soon they'll be sitting all along here, and you can just come in on Sunday, grab one, love it up, and we'll send it on from there. Peggy.
Yeah. I just got a couple of announcements. Next Sunday is also our monthly hike. It's going to be at the Narrows. Me and Kelly and the social committee are going to firm up everything, where to meet and all that. We're shooting for 2:30 because of all the meetings after church. Second of all, we're coming up on the holiday season, and our holiday dinner is going to be December 7th.
A date that will live in infamy.
Yes. You've had my cooking before, haven't you? I know, but then my cooking, would have saved them. Anyway,
It's getting worse. It's getting worse up here.
all right. Anyway, as I was saying, the only thing we ask for the congregants and that to bring is a side dish. We'll have a sign-up sheet over by the library. I'm doing the turkeys, the ham, and the tofurkey for our vegan friends. I'm trying to decide exactly how many turkeys to get and how many hams. I'm going to have a sheet to pass around, or it'll be in the announcements. But just check off what you prefer, and then I can go from there. And then second of all, there's plenty of goodies, birthday cake and all that in the social hall. If you want to join the social club and see exactly what it's all about, come see me, Sherry Buckner. She's also on it. Thank you, Reverend CC, for a wonderful evening Friday night. It was enjoyable. And thanks for the cleanup crew, too. You guys did an awesome, amazing job, Becky and Daryl and Mike and all the others. It was very awesome, and I enjoyed it. My husband enjoyed it immensely. Second year that he came, so, and his friend. There's one other thing I was going to say. Oh, also, I am having a holiday bazaar at Greenmont Community Hall, November the 15th. All proceeds for the tables and the raffle that I'm having there is going to benefit Children's Medical Center, Cancer and Hospice Unit. So if you're a Facebook friend, y'all already know about it. But I'm also looking for donations for the raffles. So if anybody has any kind of crafts or anything like that, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to shoot for at least $1,500 to get new toys from Toys R Us, because my sister works there and I get a really good discount. So, and then I'm gonna bring them here for everybody to love on also.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Peggy. I also just want to let you know that if you want to go listen to some music, Thursday night at Canal Street, Zenage is playing, and they are people who attend here regularly, so check them out. Did I get it right, Philip? Thursday? 9 to 10, Canal Street. And if there is anything you would like prayer for after the service, we have licensed prayer practitioners who are wearing the white or the teal shawls. Just walk up to one of them and say, I'd like prayer. Maybe it's that you want more good in your life. Maybe it's that things are so good you can hardly stand it and you just want to keep it that way. Whatever it is, it's their gift to you, so please take advantage of that on Sunday mornings. And so let's stand and do our closing affirmation and then our closing song, which is Stand. Oh, that's right. We're going to end with Happy. Yay! There is a song of the universe and I sing it.
There is a song in the universe and I sing it.
There is a hymn of praise and I praise it.
There is a hymn of praise and I praise it.
There is a life of joy and I live it.
There is a life of joy and I live it.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Have a fabulous week.
You too.
Ready?